What if one of the most feared predators in the ocean, the shark, could reveal a hidden world where its strength is not lost but transformed into one of the most durable luxury materials on Earth? This question may seem unsettling at first, but it is exactly this tension between power and craftsmanship that draws us into the industrial corridors where shark leather is reborn. When you hear the words shark leather factory, you might imagine something harsh and chaotic. Yet the reality is far more intricate. Behind every finished piece lies a sequence of meticulous processes, specialized engineering, and a deep understanding of biological structures that have evolved for millions of years. The rough texture, the natural resistance to abrasion, the unique fiber density, all these attributes tell a story long before the skin ever enters a tanning drum or meets the hands of a master craftsman. In this opening step of the full transformation process, we begin peeling back the layers of an industry that few have dared to explore in detail. Shark leather is not simply harvested and processed like common hides. It demands precision, it demands timing, it demands techniques refined over decades to maintain the integrity of a material that was designed by nature to survive relentless pressure, salt, and motion. As we move deeper into this world, you will start to see how every stage, from initial handling to specialized treatment, influences the final durability that defines high-end shark leather goods. And perhaps you will notice something else too, something more subtle: the way human ingenuity has learned to work alongside the natural properties of a predator instead of against them. Before we advance further into the factory floor, I want to know how this first reveal resonates with you. Have you ever imagined the journey behind a material like this? If any part of what you have heard sparks curiosity or even surprise, tell me about it in the comments. Leave your so this investigation reaches more people, and make sure you are subscribed so you can follow every step of this complete process. What you will discover next may shift the way you see luxury materials forever, and it all starts right after this point, as the transformation truly begins. Once the idea of transformation takes hold, the next question is simple but essential. How does a raw shark hide actually arrive inside an industrial facility prepared to handle such a demanding material? The journey begins long before any machine is activated. Fishermen, coastal suppliers, and regulated collection points form the first link in a chain designed to preserve the structural integrity of the hide from the moment the shark is harvested. Unlike more common animal skins, shark hides can degrade rapidly if not handled according to strict temperature, salinity, and timing standards. This is because the collagen network within shark skin is denser and more reactive, meaning that any lapse in care can compromise the durability expected in luxury applications. When the hides are first received at the factory, they undergo an immediate inspection process focused on identifying tension marks, natural abrasions, and variations in dermal thickness. These traits will later influence the tanning chemistry and mechanical treatments. Every hide is logged, labeled, and measured with precision tools that capture details such as fiber direction and surface grain strength. Industrial cold. Rooms maintain the hides at stable temperatures to prevent bacterial activity, which is critical because uncontrolled microbial growth can weaken the microscopic anchors that give shark leather its signature resistance. Transportation protocols are equally specialized. Some facilities use vacuum-sealed packaging to limit exposure to oxygen, while others rely on brine preservation to stabilize the hide during transit. The priority is always the same: prevent decay, preserve elasticity, and maintain the sharp, natural texture that luxury manufacturers seek. By the time the hides reach the initial processing sector, teams already know which batches will be routed toward heavy-duty applications, which toward finer fashion items, and which require additional pre-treatment steps. This early categorization shapes everything that follows, guiding chemical formulations, drum cycles, and even the blade angles used during mechanical thinning. And as we move forward, the importance of this foundation becomes clearer, revealing how every detail in the receiving phase directly determines the success of the transformation that lies ahead. As the hides move beyond the receiving stage, the factory enters one of its most decisive phases: selection, triage, and classification. This is where skilled technicians examine every centimeter of surface to determine which hides possess the structural qualities required for high-end shark leather production. The skin of a shark is naturally complex, filled with microscopic denticles that once served as hydrodynamic armor in the water. These denticles must be evaluated carefully, since their condition will dictate how the hide responds to mechanical processing, chemical penetration, and later finishing treatments. Even minor irregularities can influence dye absorption, flexibility, and the final tactile profile that luxury manufacturers demand. The first step is visual grading under specialized lighting that reveals inconsistencies, invisible to the naked eye. Technicians assess grain uniformity, natural patterns, scar distribution, and dermal density. The hides are then separated into tiers: premium grade for luxury accessories, structural grade for resistant products, and secondary grade for items that rely more on durability than aesthetic refinement. Every classification choice affects cost, processing time, and the type of equipment needed downstream. Next comes the physical evaluation. Shark skin thickness varies, significantly depending on species, age, and habitat, so calipers and digital scanners are used to map thickness gradients. This determines how much mechanical thinning will be required later and how the hide will behave in tanning drums, where uniform chemical exposure is essential. The technicians also test tensile strength, bending resistance, and moisture retention, all crucial indicators of how the fibers will respond once the transformation intensifies. Finally, the hides enter the AE documentation stage, where each piece is recorded with code identifiers linking it to specific processing routes. This ensures that every hide receives the precise treatment formulation it requires. By the time this classification process ends, the factory has already shaped the destiny of each hide, directing it toward a tailored sequence of industrial steps that will soon expose the hidden potential within its layered structure, preparing it for the demanding operations that follow. Once the hides are fully classified, they move into the first true transformation zone of the factory, where preparation begins through deep cleaning and residue removal. This step may appear simple on the surface, but it is one of the most intricate phases of shark leather production. The natural structure of shark skin contains embedded particles, trace salts, and remnants of marine exposure that must be carefully stripped away without disrupting the underlying collagen network. If the cleaning is too aggressive, the dermal layers weaken. If it is too gentle, the hide will resist later chemical penetration, compromising the entire tanning sequence. The process starts with controlled soaking cycles in large stainless steel tanks filled with calibrated water solutions. These baths rehydrate the hides, soften rigid sections, and reactivate the internal fibers that may have stiffened during transportation. Temperature control is essential. Even a few degrees of deviation can cause uneven swelling, which later translates into irregular grain patterns. As the hides absorb moisture, technicians monitor their elasticity, looking for the precise moment when they become pliable enough for mechanical treatment. Once rehydration is complete, the skins undergo a defleshing phase, where specialized blades remove residual tissue lodged beneath the surface. This is a high-precision step, requiring careful pressure control to avoid slicing into the structural layers that give shark leather its remarkable resistance. After that, a descaling procedure begins. Since shark skin possesses natural denticles, these microstructures must be softened and partially lifted to allow uniform processing. Industrial rotating drums apply gentle friction, loosening debris and smoothing the surface just enough without stripping away the texture prized by luxury manufacturers. A final enzyme-based cleaning solution is applied to dissolve microscopic impurities and prepare the hide for tanning. Chemistry. This is where the transformation truly starts to take shape, as the material shifts from raw biological origin to engineered textile potential. Each movement, each rinse, each adjustment prepares the hide for what comes next, reinforcing the idea that shark leather owes its durability not only to nature, but also to the skill and discipline of those who refine it. If this meticulous beginning of the transformation surprised you, share your thoughts in the comments and tell me which part of this preparation stage caught your attention the most. With the hides fully cleaned and structurally prepared, they enter one of the most defining phases of the entire manufacturing chain: the specialized tanning process. Tanning is far more than a simple chemical treatment. It is the engineered transformation that stabilizes the biological fibers of shark skin, converting them into a material capable of withstanding decades of wear, exposure, and mechanical stress. Because shark hides differ dramatically from terrestrial animal skins, traditional tanning formulas are ineffective. The collagen bundles in shark skin are interwoven in tighter, more complex formations, requiring tailored solutions that penetrate evenly without overswelling the fibers. The process begins in large rotating drums where the hides are submerged in pre-tanning agents. These solutions open the fiber structure gently, creating pathways for deeper chemical absorption later in the process. Control is everything here. Drum speed, pH levels, and chemical concentration are constantly monitored because even minor fluctuations can alter the flexibility and long-term stability of the leather. As the hides rotate, they gradually shift from their raw, rigid state toward a more receptive, adaptable form. Following pre-tanning, the hides move into the chrome or vegetable tanning phase, depending on the final application desired. Chrome tanning produces sharper resistance and a more uniform grain, ideal for high-performance products. Vegetable tanning, on the other hand, enriches the hide with a natural density and earthy tone favored in artisanal luxury goods. Regardless of the method, the key challenge lies in achieving complete penetration. Shark skin is naturally resistant. Its fibers evolved to protect the animal in extreme environments, so the tanning liquors must be engineered to infiltrate evenly across varying thicknesses. During these cycles, technicians evaluate the hides, repeatedly checking for consistency, saturation, and internal stability. Any irregularity at this stage could surface later during drying or finishing, causing cracks, discoloration, or structural failure. When the tanning is complete, the hides emerge with fundamentally altered properties. They no longer behave like raw biological tissue, but like engineered material ready for refinement. Yet despite this dramatic shift, the leather is still only partly transformed, awaiting further processes that will unlock its characteristic smoothness, strength, and signature feel unique to shark leather. Once tanning has stabilized the internal structure of the hide, the transformation shifts toward refinement, where the true character of shark leather begins to emerge. This stage focuses on controlled softening, precise dyeing, and systematic strengthening of the fibers, all of which shape the final performance and aesthetic qualities expected in luxury markets. Because shark leather starts out naturally rigid and densely packed, the softening process is far more complex than with traditional hides. Specialized mechanical rollers knead the material repeatedly, loosening the collagen bundles without breaking them. Each pass through the machinery increases flexibility while preserving the natural grain pattern that distinguishes shark leather from other exotic materials. During softening, technicians assess pliability by hand, feeling for uniform tension and ensuring that no area becomes overstretched. It is a delicate balance. Too much force and the hide thins unevenly. Too little and the subsequent treatments will not adhere properly. Once the ideal level of flexibility is achieved, the hides move into the dyeing phase. Shark leather is notoriously difficult to color consistently because its surface is resistant and has varied porosity across different zones. To overcome this, the dyes are formulated to penetrate in gradual layers rather than all at once. Multiple immersion cycles allow the pigments to bond within the fiber network, creating rich and lasting tones that do not fade under friction or exposure. Color testing is continuous. Technicians extract small samples from trimmed edges, checking how light interacts with the grain and adjusting the formula when necessary. Some hides receive deep, saturated dyes meant for high-fashion goods, while others are finished in more neutral tones that highlight the natural texture of the leather. Once dyed, the hides undergo strengthening treatments in which specialized resins or oils are worked into the surface. These compounds enhance durability, improve resistance to tearing, and ensure that the leather maintains its structure even after years of bending, stretching, and environmental stress. By the end of this stage, the hide has gained a new identity. It is softer, richer in color, and structurally fortified, yet still carrying the subtle ruggedness of its marine origins. The refinement phase sets the stage for the next step, where the material's legendary toughness will be engineered even further, transforming it into one of the most resilient exotic leathers available. As the refined hides move deeper into the production line, they reach the stage that defines shark leather's worldwide reputation for near indestructibility. This phase revolves around engineered reinforcement, where the naturally strong collagen matrix is systematically enhanced through controlled mechanical and chemical processes. Shark skin already possesses a dense network of interlocking fibers formed to withstand oceanic pressure and constant abrasion, but industrial treatment elevates these natural defenses into a level of durability unmatched by most exotic leathers. The challenge is to strengthen the material without sacrificing flexibility, ensuring it remains suitable for high-end goods that demand both longevity and comfort. The process begins with precision stretching cycles that align the fibers along directional patterns. This alignment increases tensile strength while preserving the leather's ability to bend without fracturing. Technicians monitor the hide's response to pressure, adjusting angles and tension to prevent micro tears that could compromise the final product. Once the fiber structure is aligned, the hides receive resin-based reinforcement baths designed to penetrate the deeper layers of the dermis. These solutions bond with collagen strands, filling microscopic gaps and creating a cohesive internal framework that resists deformation. After chemical reinforcement, the hides undergo heat setting in controlled thermal chambers. This stage stabilizes the internal matrix by locking the resin and collagen networks into place. Temperature management is crucial. Too much heat can weaken the grain, too little leaves the fibers understabilized. Once removed from the chambers, the hides are tested for impact resistance, flex durability, and abrasion tolerance, using industrial devices that simulate years of wear in minutes. Each hide that passes these tests demonstrates the engineered resilience that makes shark leather a preferred material for premium wallets, protective gear, and specialized accessories. At this point, the material has evolved far beyond its natural state, becoming a fusion of biological strength and industrial precision. And yet, there is still more transformation ahead as the leather moves toward the finishing stages that will define its surface texture, water resistance, and final visual appeal. If this process of engineered strength fascinated you, leave a comment sharing which part of this reinforcement stage captured your curiosity. With the structural reinforcement complete, the hides progress into the premium finishing sector, where the material's aesthetic and functional qualities are shaped with meticulous precision. This phase determines how each piece of shark leather will look, feel, and perform in real-world applications, making it one of the most detail-oriented steps in the entire manufacturing process. The first operation involves surface leveling, where gentle abrasion tools smooth out inconsistencies without erasing the natural grain patterns that give shark leather its iconic texture. Technicians make micro-adjustments to pressure and tool speed, ensuring that the surface retains its character while achieving a uniform tactile profile. Following leveling, the hides enter the texturing stage. Depending on the desired final product, the leather may be enhanced through embossing plates, subtle pattern shaping, or controlled surface polishing. These procedures highlight the grain while reinforcing resistance to external damage. Shark leather's natural microdenticles create unique visual depth, and finishing specialists work carefully to preserve these subtle variations so the final product expresses both luxury and authenticity. Next comes the crucial waterproofing stage. Because shark leather is destined for high-end accessories and rugged applications alike, hydrophobic treatments are applied to saturate the upper layers and create a barrier against moisture. These treatments also improve stain resistance and protect the grain from long-term environmental exposure. After waterproofing, the hides undergo controlled drying in humidity-regulated chambers. Slow drying prevents fiber contraction and helps maintain dimensional stability, which is essential for precise cutting and stitching later on. Quality testing begins immediately after drying. Technicians evaluate color stability under different lighting scenarios, measure water repellency, and test resistance to scratches and bending. Any hide that falls short in even one category undergoes additional adjustment cycles. This stage ensures that only high-performance material continues forward. Finally, finishing oils and conditioners are applied to enrich the surface, enhancing both softness and sheen. These refinements give shark leather its premium status, creating a visual and tactile signature that distinguishes it from other exotic materials. As the hides leave this sector, they carry the polished identity that will determine their purpose in the luxury market, ready for the next transition in their evolving journey. Once the shark leather has been meticulously finished and approved through rigorous testing, it transitions from the controlled environment of the factory into the competitive world of luxury manufacturing. At this stage, every hide carries a distinct identity shaped by its grain, color depth, flexibility, and resilience. These attributes determine how designers and manufacturers across the globe will incorporate the material into high-end goods. Because shark leather is valued for both its exotic appearance and structural performance, it occupies a unique niche within luxury markets. It is not merely decorative, it is functional, durable, and engineered to withstand prolonged use without losing its character. Manufacturers specializing in premium accessories often seek shark leather for wallets, belts, watch straps, and artisanal goods, where texture and longevity matter. Unlike softer exotic leathers, shark leather resists scratches, absorbs wear gracefully, and maintains a sharp aesthetic even under heavy use. This makes it particularly appealing for designers aiming to create products that combine luxury with practicality. In other segments, the material is selected for its protective qualities, finding use in specialized equipment, limited edition footwear, and even high-performance items that require both flexibility and abrasion resistance. Before reaching these markets, however, each hide undergoes a final grading and sorting process. This step ensures that the leather is matched to the right application. Higher-grade hides with uniform texture and flawless grain patterns are reserved for luxury fashion houses. Those with slightly more pronounced natural markings often appeal to brands seeking authenticity and rugged elegance in their designs. Each batch is cataloged and shipped under controlled conditions to preserve the finish and prevent moisture exposure during transport. The global demand for shark leather remains relatively exclusive due to the complexity of its production and limited availability. Luxury brands that work with it often highlight the craftsmanship behind each product, emphasizing the combination of industrial precision and natural marine heritage embedded in the material. As the hides leave the factory, they begin a new journey, shaped not by the ocean currents that once defined them, but by the creative vision of artisans and manufacturers who understand the value of a material forged through both nature and engineering. As shark leather travels from selective luxury workshops to global markets, its presence becomes a quiet statement of the intricate processes that shaped it. Few consumers ever imagine the industrial choreography behind a material this resilient, a material that once moved with the force of the ocean and now withstands the pressures of human craftsmanship. When designers cut into a finished hide, they are not merely handling a textile. They are working with a substance refined through countless calibrations, chemical balances, and mechanical treatments designed to enhance what nature began. This final chapter of the leather's transformation brings together biology, engineering, and artistry in a way that only a handful of materials can claim. In high-end markets, shark leather often stands apart because it bridges two worlds: the untamed harshness of marine predators and the precision-driven demands of modern luxury production. Every finished product expresses this duality. A wallet or accessory made from shark leather carries subtle grain patterns shaped by natural evolution, yet reinforced through methods developed inside specialized factories. Even the smallest surface detail reflects the cumulative impact of soaking cycles, tanning formulas, fiber alignment, heat-stabilizing treatments, and finishing oils. What emerges is a material that does not simply perform well in theory, but excels under real-world conditions, evolving from raw hide into a refined, enduring expression of luxury innovation. As industries continue to evolve, the future of shark leather will likely expand into new territories where durability, texture, and controlled exotic appeal are valued. Advancements in reinforcement chemistry, sustainable sourcing, and precision finishing may redefine how the world perceives exotic leathers as a whole. What remains certain is that the journey of shark leather from predator to premium product reveals the hidden depth of industrial transformation, exposing how much intention and engineering is required to elevate a natural material into something truly exceptional. If you stayed with me until this point, let me know by leaving a comment with the phrase "I am here until the end." It is always interesting to see who follows every step of these deep industrial explorations. And if this full process opened a new perspective for you, consider subscribing so you do not miss future breakdowns of how raw materials become luxury products. Your like also helps this kind of detailed content reach more people who appreciate the craft behind the industry. There is another video waiting here that expands on these transformations, so click and continue exploring this world with me.